Year anniversary. Well, what now? President Bush, my darling, what are we going to do now? If you withdraw, we lose. If you keep things the way they are, you lose. If you hand over power to the Iraqis, everybody loses, especially the Iraqis you hand over power to. They're not going to last too long. Maybe they got the life expectancy of a Jason Williams party guest. But we've really got a decision to make. Let's face it. Are we a world power? Or are we fence straddlers who don't even have the fortitude to beat a bunch of half-assed Baathist who are hiding in mosques? Come on, Bush, do it. You know what I'm talking about, Texas. You know what I'm talking about. So order it. Use the same finger you used to wipe away the evidence back in the 70s. One for Fallujah, one for Damascus, one for Islamabad, one for Tehran, one for Pyongyang. Come on, boy. You're from Texas. Come on, boy. Put on some Marshall Tucker. Get yourself a little of the old confidence rebuilder. And before I end, let me say one thing, which is this. Before we start the show, to my cousin Dylan, the great handicapper, how could a favorite lose? I've heard of a horse throwing a shoe during a race. How could they throw two shoes, you idiot? I lost a mint. Let's talk about those soldiers got arrested after the photos surfaced of the Iraqi prisoners being abused, humiliated. Here's what President Bush said about it.
Their treatment does not reflect the nature of the American people. That's not the way we do things in America. And so I didn't like it one bit. But I also want to remind people that those few people who did that do not reflect the nature of the men and women we sent overseas.
Okay, before we start, what are the odds that Apollo just said, see, there's a woman there. I knew it. That's what they like to do to girls. But what do you guys think about this? It's not torture like the Iraqi torture videos. Let's keep it in perspective.
Yeah, but they're going to use it against us like they are.
Right.
Torture videos. And it's going to support all their propaganda. Al-Qaeda's propaganda, everything. So, see, they're exactly the way we portrayed them.
It's shocking. I'm like every other American. I saw those photos, and I just, had to masturbate and yell, lucky boy.
I'm not convinced yet that they're even authentic pictures because those asses weren't really hairy enough to be Iraqi.
Yeah, that's true.
Could be Photoshop, That's where I stand.
But I mean, they're funny photos. I find them amusing. These are poor guys. These weren't even like regular Army. They were reservists. Like 2 months ago, they're in Webster, Texas at the batting cages, and then now they're in Iraq trying to have fun. And this is, I've taken worse photos of people I really like who passed out after a party. You put a zucchini by their mouth, you get some Vaseline in there. It's all implied, but it's wonderful.
That's true. It's not torture, but
No, it's not. Right. There is an American arrogance to it, because this is a prison where Saddam Hussein tortured and killed thousands of Iraqis. And here we are desecrating the sacred place by taking funny photos.
He's got a good point. And when we went to Guantanamo Bay, GT as I call it, all the guards there told me the prisoners throw like feces, which I hate to say, but you can't curse on TV, and like urine at them all day, and they weren't allowed to do anything. So there's two sides to it. You never read that story, doesn't come out, even though it was obviously no big secret if they told me.
And the gay pyramid, it's pretty funny. I've never seen the gay pyramid
you have to be careful with that kind of stuff, because more must have gone on, though. There's one guy that's always a little half, and then when they're doing the gay pyramid, he starts shoving something. You do have to not, that's not acceptable, but I think that
it's depending on the consistency, it's hard to be accurate with feces, too.
Right.
But that's the other thing.
Depends on what they ate the night before.
Well, let's start with the other side.
But your writers threw feces at me before I came out here.
Well,
but also,
that was a sketch they wrote.
In the gay pyramid, they covered those guys' heads, so they saved them the dignity of not having to make eye contact with whoever's balls were on his back. You don't, oh, Jesus, dude, come on.
Right. So, it really is depressing that they consider this torture, and I've paid prostitutes to do that to me.
How did they get the photos? Did these guys go down and get them developed in town?
No, dummy went. One of them sent it to his friend at home, and the friend's like, "No, stupid. These are going to somebody."
Is that true?
Yeah, he sent it to one of his friends back home, like, "Hey, isn't this funny?" And the guy's like, "Not really."
Yeah, and I read something that for the Iraqi people, that's like the most demeaning thing you could do to a male too. You know, so it was like another level.
What's
it's fun for us, but
demeaning compared to what? When Saddam would cut their balls off and rape their wives in front of them. I mean, that's another level to me. But listen to this.
Would he do that?
A group of women calling themselves, their company's called Take One for the Country, have been gathering at bars near military bases to have sex with soldiers before they go off to Iraq. Okay? Here it is, red, white, and blue. Now, what do you guys think about this?
I think, when I think of these women, I think of, great women of our Gloria Steinem, Rosa Parks, Susan B. Anthony, all these people that worked really hard so that women can stand there and,
But not only
with these soldiers.
But you have to say the intent is their heart's in the right place.
It's wonderful.
Among other things.
Yes.
No, their vagina's in the right place.
Hey, look, we're going to have to disagree. Not only do I think they should be having sex with guys who are going to Iraq, but I also think they should give handjobs to comedians who have been there.
I think it's a positive thing. It's going to help those guys over there.
They said they're going to have sex
How is it going to help them over there?
They're going to be encouraged. They're going to feel good. Someone appreciates what I'm doing. It boosts the economy here. Guys, lonely, desperate, going to barbershops, getting flat tops, hoping to cash in on the food sweepstakes,
Yeah, I'm going to go out in my flight suit tonight. What the hell?
I know.
You need a little piece like Bush had.
I beg your pardon? Did he have a piece?
He had a little piece in there because.
Couldn't you say, why did you have a piece like Bush? You say you need a little piece.
Well, if you're trying. All right,
Now
Colin.
look, I'm trying.
Now it's my turn, isn't it?
It's my turn.
The only problem I have with this whole thing is now that a bunch of guys who never get laid are going to try to join the military, I don't think we need an army full of fat, pimply guys who like Dungeons and Dragons.
I disagree.
We'll be right back. Well, a former writer's assistant on Friends is suing the show. She claims sexual harassment by how the writers talked. She said they said things like, Courtney Cox's vagina is full of twigs, dried up twigs. They regularly discuss making Joey a serial rapist. And they discuss like what he would do to rape all the different women on the show. Now, what do you guys think about this? Do you think it's, Judy, go ahead.
Well, you work on a show, you work, 14 hours a day?
Right.
You make some tasteless jokes, get over it.
Right.
You know what I mean? I worked at Rosie. The things I said over there, I could have a million lawsuits.
It's true.
Well,
It's
it's
unbelievable.
True. You can't do anything, and it's
the beginning of the end.
But it's a woman, which 98%, and the other two are like guys who are either gay or Canadian, right?
What does that mean? Wait, what does that mean she's a woman?
She's a woman, so then it's always, I can't take this sexual talk. I can't
That's
take
not
this.
true.
It is true.
It is
He's right.
true.
It
That
is true.
is not
98%
true.
of the sexual harassment lawsuits are from
Because
women.
you guys were
Because we made jokes about dried twigs and a vagina. Yes,
I
it's
make
true.
jokes about dried twigs and a vagina.
So you mean to tell me it's not always mostly
I don't
women?
have a dried twig
A vagina you
I
have?
have a
That would make
I
a
like
good.
that.
That would make a good Halloween
But
costume.
getting past, the point is this. The point is,
What do you expect? That is the way it is. She said they were making obscene, racist, and sexist jokes, which is another way of saying that they're funny guys. They're clowning around. Really, that's what it is. And she can't cut the mustard.
Why do you have to blame it on the fact that she's a woman?
Because that's the
Because that's
majority
who
of the
always
time.
does.
This doesn't apply to you or women.
I'm not
that are good
saying all
comics,
women.
but that's the type of mentality you got to deal with. And you wonder why guys don't want you in the country clubs because they're goof. I'm not saying that guys should be able to touch you and sexually harass you, but a bunch of guys just making
I
jokes.
don't agree
She's
with
suing
her.
Well,
I
that's
don't
why.
agree with her.
But
she's
you
a
got all
woman.
bent out of shape when I said it was almost always a woman, which it is.
Because
That's a
it's
fact.
not. Look at your attorney general taking that thing off of the statue because the boobs are on the statue.
But he didn't sue the statue for sexual harassment.
That's right.
He didn't go, oh my God, that statue pressed his palm
No,
up
instead
against
he had
me.
a little prayer meeting.
Hey,
No, I'm not saying that. That guy's an idiot too, but the majority, it's a
Right.
woman. And it's displaced anger is what it all boils down to.
Yep.
She's there working probably 17 hours a day, making $600 a week, and you look across the aisle and there's Matt LeBlanc bringing home 1.7 a
Right.
week. you got to be steamed, and so suddenly,
Not to
he
mention
made
that-
dirty jokes. I'm
Right.
sad.
Not to mention that twigs in the vagina is a very serious medical condition.
Yeah.
That really shouldn't be.
Now
What about that in the All About
Yeah.
Society?
Ted actually had twigs in his vagina.
How do you think I
One
feel?
point, but
How do you
I
think I
consulted
feel
you.
knowing that they were discussing taking Joey and then stealing my life?
No, but it's just silly. I just think that
But don't you feel like, yeah?
you need the freedom, and I mean, it's not necessary. You could probably sit in a writer's room that is very polite and not a foul
No,
word
you
is
couldn't,
never
'cause then
spoken.
nothing funny
No,
would
you
come
could.
out.
Yeah, it'd be a life according to Jim is where you would be working. But if you want to work on a good show where people, you have to be free to express your ideas with impunity, and then stuff flows out of that.
And then the FCC
But that's
should
why
cut
women
you.
get a tough time. Let's say
Right.
all women, but that's why it's a I didn't like that type of humor, and it's just like, shut your face. That's
Yeah, but
why
there
no
are
one's
men,
laughing
but
at what you're
that's
saying.
fine, and there are a lot of women like that, but there are also men like that.
I've
And I
never met
said
him.
they were gay or
Your
Canadian.
president
I've already.
is like
No,
that.
I'm talking about comedy.
Colin
In comedy.
Powell,
In
no,
comedy.
Colin Powell's son is
We're
like
doing
that.
No, he
comedy.
stinks. I'm talking about
But
in
they're not
comedy, not guys that are
suing people.
conservative.
They're not
She's not
suing.
in comedy. She's a writer's assistant.
She
And
shouldn't even
she's-
be that. She should be going, blah, 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 blah. That's what she should be doing. She stinks.
We'll be right back.
Long set.
Today we're going to play a game called My Favorite Regular. One lucky contestant gets to decide who's the funniest regular on Tough Crowd. Please welcome Sonia. Hello, Sonia. How are you? Okay. Oh, she looks like Katie Holmes. Now, Sonia, behind that wall are 3 comedians. Why did you point to it twice? I looked at it the first time. You're going to throw out some setups. And based on their punchlines, you'll pick your favorite. Now, let's say hello to our regulars. Regular number 1, say hello to Sonia.
Hiya, Sonia.
Regular number 2.
Hello?
And regular number 3.
Hi, Sonia. How you doing?
Sonia, let's start.
Okay. Regular number 1. Courtney Love just lost custody of her daughter and recently was charged with felony drug possession and disorderly conduct. Now, I don't want to say that she's gone off the deep end, but...
I don't want to say she's gone off the deep end, but last night she let regular number 2 teabag her for a pack of smokes.
Okay.
Okay. Regular number 2. I'm obsessed with the Scott Peterson trial. All the evidence says he's killed his pregnant wife, Lacey. In fact, if Scott Peterson were any guiltier...
If Scott Peterson were any guiltier, his email address would be ikilledthebitch@.com.
Okay, regular number 3. My favorite show is The Newlyweds, starring Jessica Simpson and whoever her husband is. Now, I don't want to say that Jessica Simpson is a complete idiot, but...
I don't want to say Jessica Simpson's a complete idiot, but she's so stupid she doesn't get her period every month. She gets a question mark.
Okay. Regular number 1. If regular number 2 were a sea creature, which one would he be and why?
What do you mean, if he were? Why?
Regular number 2. Before the show, a little birdie told me that one of the 3 of you has a reoccurring sexually transmitted disease. Which regular is it, and how did he catch it?
The regular with the sexually transmitted disease is me. And I caught it in Greg and Nick.
Okay. Regular number 3. If regular number 1 and regular number 2 were to fight for my love, who would win and why?
If 1 and 2 fought for your love, I'd win because they're so out of shape they'd be too tired to get it up after they got done fighting. And,
Oh, Sonia, I'm afraid we've run out of time. You've got a choice to make. Will it be regular number 1, regular number 2, or regular number 3? Sonia, who's it going to be?
I'm going to have to go for regular number 1.
Regular number 1. Okay, Sonia, let's meet the 2 you didn't pick. Regular number 2 is a great mind tracked in an awful body. He enjoys tranny hunting, pulling his fat man tits, and doing stand-up and pretending he has more than 1 week of community college. Please welcome Mr. Jim Norton.
Oh, thank you.
Now, regular number 2 has burned more bridges than the Fayadeen on their way out of Iraq. He's a very angry man, and he's married, but he doesn't like that to stop him from dating. So please welcome Nick DiPaolo.
get out of here.
Okay. Now, before you meet your favorite regular, here's a few facts. Greg Giraldo. He fluctuates between optimism and just desperation and anger about the business. He won the Latino comedy cockfight that was held in Sub-Basement 3 at the Bush Terminal in South Brooklyn. Please welcome Mr. Greg Giraldo.
All right, there we go. You ready for a lovely date, fella?
Yeah.
All right, good. How do you feel? Good?
Semi-erect.
Oh, good. Okay, fellas, come on. Let's come out for that big dating game. Goodbye, you know?
Oh, I see you guys have already taken care of that.
Oh, we'll be right back. Ready? Mwah!
The greatest incentive to join the military is a new group of women who are having sex with soldiers heading to Iraq as a way of taking one for the country. Sexually speaking, have you ever taken one for the team, Jim?
Yes. After a show one night, my buddy's hitting on this girl, and she's really hot, and the only thing that is stopping the two of them from having sex is her fat friend, who looked like a cross between Jiminy Glick and a water buffalo. Not only was I not attracted to her, but she was so fat I wanted to spit on her. To help my friend out, I take this manatee back to my room. I make out with her. I would have had sex with her, but seeing her naked made my penis wilt like it was exposed to radiation. And as soon as the room phone rang and he told me that they were done having sex, I grabbed my bag and left the room with this fat, naked monster sleeping in my hotel room.
That's very beautiful and kind of sad. Judy.
That was fascinating. You know, Colin and the guys here, I never took one for the team, but let's talk about the women who did. The first ladies. Hillary Clinton, Eleanor Roosevelt. You know, Franklin used to say that she was his legs, but she was really his legs in the air. Now, what about poor Laura Bush? She's taking one for Satan. Can you... Thank you. No, seriously, guys. Can you imagine having to look at those beady eyes and that tail while he's moaning, "Oh, baby, you're so hot, you're nuclear. Now touch my weapon of mass destruction." Yeah, talk about something you can't find. Enjoy your day.
Okay, Ted!
Well, I haven't taken one for the team, but I did perform for the military on the USO tour, and believe me, there were a few female soldiers in the crowd that I was prepared to give an honorable discharge to. But I refrained and acted like a gentleman. Had I known that it was my patriotic duty to bang each and every one of those ladies, I would have gladly deployed my own Scud missiles, strapped on the night vision, and created my own axis of evil for the USA.
All right, Chief John. Oh, Professor.
Good evening. My buddy and I were in a bar, and he met Tiffany Amber Thiessen. And of course, the rule is a good-looking woman always has a ugly friend with her to stop the fun. So I took the bullet for the buddy, and while he was in the front seat in heaven, I'm in the back seat, and Tiffany's friend is going down on me. It was horrible. And I guess that's why they call that dude Screech.
That's the show. Good night.
You opened the show in a flight suit.
Oh, yes, I did.
How did that make you feel? Virile?
Mm-hmm. I felt like Viral Wang.
That's funny if you know, in the fashion business or you listen to hip hop in the past year.
In the opening, you urged the president to push the button. Do you really believe that...
The nuclear button.
Yeah, the nuclear button. Do you really believe that that's the solution to our problems in Iraq and other areas?
Well, it's one way of, one solution.
Yeah, it's true.
There's other ones, but...
It was kind of like a final solution.
Well, it's kind of like one of those things that you don't want to say it because it's kind of rude and inhumane, but it is something that one of the options. You just got to throw it out there, and then maybe you won't want to do it, but at least...